It is the biggest chase in this World Cup. In fact, the second biggest across all World Cups. And would you believe it? It came with 51 balls to spare, 7 wickets in hand. That is how dominating Bangladesh were on the day versus the West Indies, chasing 322. They reached that target with rather a lot of ease there. The big partnership that we're talking about that you saw there was Shakib Al Hasan and Liton, putting 189 runs together, bettering the partnership we saw earlier in the day, that between Evan Lewis at that time and Shea Hope. As far as the bowlers are concerned for Bangladesh, it was the fast bowlers, 3 wickets apiece there for Rahman and Saifuddin. For West Indies bowlers, nothing much to write home about. Andre Russell picking up that wicket, but not bowling his quota of overs, wasn't fit at one time. O'Shane Thomas also picking up a wicket. I'm Nikhil Naz, with me Michael Hussey, Ajit Agarkar. Also joining us right now is Darren Ganga, Shahryar Nafiz. Just looking at this performance there from Bangladesh, I mean, it was 2011 World Cup. They folded for 58 versus West Indies. They've come a long way to have registered a win like that.
There's a lot of belief in that team and a lot of quality. And they've had a group that's been able to stay together for a period of time now. Shakib Al Hasan, wow, he is in the form of his life. Yeah. He looks fit, he looks hungry. He's getting well supported from some of the other players as well. I was really impressed with Liton. That was a fantastic innings. He came in and just timed the ball beautifully. And they just raced towards that target. They've got something going there, Bangladesh. They might not have the real firepower with the ball, but they fight hard with the ball, they fight hard in the field, and they've got some real quality batsmen there. So they've sent a bit of a message to the rest of the tournament that they're not going to go away lightly here.
Okay, let's go across to Shahryar Nafiz, because you spoke about Liton, and Shahryar was one of those analysts who believed that Liton should be drafted into the team. Why is it that you believe so much in Liton, Shahryar? Was it the form that he showed right before this World Cup? I mean, even in the warm-up game and then the series before that?
First of all, he has the ability, like playing with him for last few years in the domestic circuit and in the A teams, and watching him playing for the national team, I had a belief that he had that quality. He has that ability to play fantastically in this kind of situation, and he is a player who is not afraid of the situation. He plays the short ball well, and with supporting that, he has been in terrific touch for last few international matches. So he was not the first choice for Bangladeshi team management, and rightly so, because Mohammad Mithun has been in runs and he was given enough opportunity. And after that, I believe that if he can come, he's a batsman. He can bat in any order. Like he can open the bat. He will be good against in the middle overs. And if you look at West Indies bowling attack, they don't have spinners, so all fast bowlers. So it doesn't matter where you bat. I just had a feeling that he should be given a chance, and I'm very glad for him, because it was his first World Cup match, and what an impact he has put in this match.
Just a word on the management as well, Ajit. I mean, right now, in hindsight, it looks like a great decision. But then to even send him ahead of Mohammadullah, who's their experienced campaigner, clearly they knew he is capable of an innings like this.
Yeah, I mean, right situation as well. I think there was a little bit of time. I think Shakib was batting, the strike rate that he was batting at, you could see the bowlers couldn't stop him. Not great bowling, but he just made sure that because they were making so many mistakes, he kept putting pressure. So that allowed Liton to take a little bit of time at the start as well, just to get set, rotate strike, and he did that very well. Didn't let Shakib off strike for too long, which sometimes makes you lose a bit of rhythm. Great selection, inspired selection, and also sending him ahead of Mohammadullah, who I thought probably should be batting at number 5, but they know better. So incredible innings, and just the calmness even at the end. Okay, that over where he smacked Gabriel for 3 sixes and sort of eased the pressure completely. But even so, they were always in control, both of them.
It's a major victory for Bangladesh. We don't say it because of the margin of victory that you see on the scorecard, but also if you take a look at in ICC Cricket World Cups, the highest run chases ever. As you can see, Bangladesh now chasing 322 versus West Indies is second on the all-time list. Before that, you had Ireland there with 328, and that game versus England in 2011. We all remember that game. Just to take this point forward, Shahryar, I'll come back to you. I mean, just looking at this World Cup, many were picking Bangladesh that they could be dangerous. I'm just looking at the experience. We're comparing the team that got out in the 2011 World Cup for 58 odd versus West Indies, and to this team to chase down this total. But I'm just looking at the experience in the Bangladeshi camp. You've got players who've been playing for 10 years, and now their experience is coming in handy when you have to chase big totals such as this.
You know, like, you cannot buy experience in a like departmental store. It has to, you have to achieve that, and Bangladesh has that experience in the squad. Yes, 2011 Bangladesh had a couple of bad matches where they just got out very cheaply, but like, that's 8-9 years back, and Bangladesh has come a long way after that. The main pillars of the team, they have been there for a long time. They have been performing. They are not there for the long time because of their name. They have played well. They have marked their. They have performed there, and they have come a long way. So look at the 5 big players. They are there, and the new guys who are coming in, say like Mehdi Miraj and Saifuddin, they are new, but they have been performing. So Bangladesh team has a very nice blend of players who are experienced and who are exciting, and that's make a very good team. You know, like in this kind of tournament like World Cup, you need experience, you need freshness, you need that X factor, and I'm very glad that Bangladesh has put up a very brilliant show today.
I can think of at least 4 to 5 players who've got experience of more than 10 years. As we heard from Sharia talking about, this is something you can't go to a departmental store and buy. You have to spend time there playing international cricket. It's now paying dividends for the Bangladesh team. We're taking a look at Bangladesh's chases. As we said, in the World Cup, this is the second highest, but these are across different tournaments for Bangladesh. Their highest ever successful chases in ODIs, and there you can see it, 322 that they've chased versus West Indies in 2019. This is the highest target that they've got right now. The previous one also they got 322, but the target at that point was 319. I'm just going to continue to talk about Shakib Al Hasan right now. Michael Hussey, to you, is he the, I know it's early days in the tournament, a comment that I made earlier, is he the MVP right now? He's the highest run getter in the tournament so far, also picking up wickets regularly for the team.
Yeah, well, he's a very handy package, that's for sure. I've not seen him bat so well, so consistently in his whole career. And he just came in so confident and was timing the ball cleanly right from the start. You talk about his bowling, a very handy bowler as well. So to have someone that can play 2 roles in the team, he's virtually worth 2 players in one at the moment. So it's so vital to have a player like that. Talking about the experience, he's probably the most experienced man in that Bangladesh team. And so he's invaluable at the moment and high on confidence, so it's been great to watch.
The good thing they've done is also put him at number 3. Just given him that extra responsibility, which he seems to be working for him. Sometimes some players actually thrive off that extra responsibility. Without him at number 3, I think Bangladesh may not be as comfortable as they're looking at this point, the way he's gone in this tournament.
Okay, it's funny enough because Michael just mentioned that, Shakib is doing the role of 2 players. Then you have West Indies on the other hand, where you've got 1 player not doing any sort of role. We've discussed that as far as Andre Russell is concerned in the show. But I'll go across now to Darren Ganga. Darren, we heard from the skipper there, Jason Holder, saying what we were 40-50 short there. Would you agree with him? Do you think the batting is where they lost it, or was it the bowling, as Michael mentioned a short while ago?
It's a double-edged sword. I mean, when you pick a team where your bowling is short, no matter if you score 350, 360, you're always going to find yourself searching for that additional bowler, which is what transpired in this encounter. I think it's a matter of the attitude. It's a matter of the intent. Yes, there were opportunities for the team when they batted first to get well over 350. That didn't happen. But if you told this West Indian team that they had 321 at the halfway stage and this was a game that they had to win, I think Jason Holder would have been confident going on to win this game. I just felt that the bowling wasn't inspired. It was long, and it took very long for bowlers to adapt and make adjustments. They're playing a very dated strategy, a strategy which worked in the first game and which, I don't know, the West Indians perhaps think that this is the approach for them to be successful as a bowling unit. But clearly, teams are way ahead in terms of being able to deal with the West Indians' approach to bowling. It requires more thought, and that is what the West Indians didn't have. Majority of runs, if you looked at Shakib Al Hasan very early in his innings, and even Taman Iqbal, they scored a lot of runs in that backward point to third man region. And the West Indians kept feeding those players in that side. There was not an adjustment to bowl a little more wicket to wicket or straight or change the angle a bit. You know, they just kept on doing that. And the game went away from the West Indies very early. So they had to play catch up. Take nothing away. I think Bangladesh, they showed intent, they showed hunger, they showed desire. And what they did is the players who got in went on to do the business for their team. You look at Shakib Al Hasan, this is the second century he scored. And you look at Liton, who's just come into the side. Again, the technical team trusting their reserves, giving opportunities, and you see what dividends were reaped. So the West Indies, they will have a lot to learn from this. I think a lot of questions will be placed on the shoulders of the coach of this West Indian side and the decision making around playing players who are not fully fit. That to me is not the best approach, especially when you're playing in a World Cup.
Okay, I'm just going to take that point, Ajit, to you. He talks about, outdated strategy of the West Indies. I know hindsight is 20/20 vision, but if you're looking at it, Andre Russell, an unfit Andre Russell, you don't know whether he'll give you those many overs. Then you've gone with a surplus batsman there in Darren Bravo, batting at number 8. He's not going to come in much handy. Yes, he got 19 runs today, but then you rather go with an extra bowler just to back up someone like an Andre Russell.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there was no imagination even with that attack. I couldn't believe that they picked Andre Russell as one of the 5 frontline bowlers with Chris Gayle as your option if needed. I mean, at the moment, if you have to go to Chris Gayle anyway, you're in trouble, and you don't quite know what you're going to get from Chris Gayle, and we saw what we got, unfortunately. So there's a poor team selection, no real variety. I mean, I know Ashley Nurse is the best option that they have, and maybe they don't trust his bowling as much, but he is the spinner. You've got to great pitch to bat on second time around, no doubt about it. But like you said, outdated strategy, because even in this match you could see how easily they were playing the short stuff that they were dishing out. It wasn't nasty stuff. It was nice, friendly stuff which they kept cutting. I mean, if you see I don't know whether we have the wagon wheel of Shakib or Tamim. Darren's absolutely right. The amount of runs that was scored through point was incredible, and it just didn't seem to change at all. There might be about 10 balls in the whole innings which were bowled on a good length, where you ask batsmen to maybe play on the rise or try and drive straight down the ground. So I mean, you can see the amount of runs. So if it's not working, I understand it's worked in a couple of games. You've got to understand those conditions as well in Nottingham. Those 2 games that they played against Australia and Pakistan, there was a bit more spice in the pitch. You could see there's nothing here. So you should be able to adapt and change your strategy, and that short ball needs to be a surprise, not your first and your last option. There was absolutely no change in the strategy till the end.
Okay, that brings me to another point. Now, if you're talking about Bangladesh making full use of that weak 5th bowler, that link that they had, and they went for plenty, I'm looking at figures of Chris Gayle going for plenty there, 11 and over. On the other hand, Bangladesh, if they had that slight little weakness in their bowling, was Mashrafe Mortaza. Do you think West Indies then let him get away with 4 odd and over? I know Mashrafe was good today, bowled in the right areas, but if you really had to take advantage of that, could be one area. That's when probably 40, 50 run shot that Holder is talking about.
I don't want to make any excuses for the West Indies, because I think they were well below their best today and didn't deserve to win. However, I do think it was a great toss to win by Bangladesh. The ball certainly just nibbled around a little bit to start with, probably that first 10 overs, and Mortaza could come in and just bowl on a good length and just get enough movement, picked up and bowled quite nicely. So that sort of sets the West Indians back a little bit. Then they sort of think, okay, well, let's just take our time, build a platform, wait for the pitch to get a little bit better, and then we'll look to attack. And to be fair, they did pretty well. To get to 322, I think we all thought, well, that's going to be a pretty competitive total.
But 40 run shot that Jason Holder says?
Well, as it turned out, but I think the pitch just got better and better and better for batting, and certainly the West Indians, they didn't bowl well at all, and so those two handed together made it a very, very easy win in the end.
All right, well,
I think the batting approach was fine today. I think 321 wasn't an easy total to chase. Bangladesh should be very proud of where they've got. The bowling wasn't great. It's the bowling plans. It's the execution in that second part of the innings. That was the worry. After that England game, West Indies, the Haas mentioned, the good is so good and the bad so bad. Unfortunately, that's 2 games in a row which they've not turned up for the game. Really, batting was better, but the bowling.
Right, we'll continue talking about that. Plenty of talking points in this particular game. But for the moment, we'll take you live to Taunton there. My colleague Melinda Farrell is there. Melinda, just sum up the things for us, the game as you saw live at the stadium.
Look, it was one of those games where the West Indies seemed to, for much of the game, not do too much wrong and quite a few things right. But in the end, it wasn't enough. And the Bangladesh side really did ride their luck once they had the bat in hand. They've done it all tournament. They've scored a lot of runs from shots they haven't been in control in. Only Afghanistan and Bangladesh have scored more than 19% of their runs from shots they weren't in control of. Been doing a little bit of a digging in with our stats guys on this stuff. So they were quite lucky. The West Indies drew a lot of false shots, a lot of edges, and with each one, it felt like the wind kind of went a little bit more out of the sails of the West Indies. Now, the fact that Bangladesh did ride their luck a bit takes absolutely nothing away, of course, from their wonderful all-rounder Shakib Al Hasan, who would be #1 pick, by the way, in any team of the tournament that I was going to choose right now. The crowd here were so behind him. It was really interesting when he actually got to his century. You didn't see too much of a celebration from him because he knew that he still had a job to do. Didn't matter. The crowd did it for him. There are going to be a lot of happy Tigers running around Taunton tonight. One thing about the West Indies too, I am just wondering, in all the kit they've brought to this World Cup, have they brought enough duct tape and string to keep Andre Russell on the park?
All right, Melinda, with whatever little we've seen of Andre Russell in this particular game, doesn't seem like he may be back for the next encounter. But let's just take a look at the points table. What is this win done for Bangladesh? They've now moved to the 5th position with 5 points after having played 5 games. So it's all 5 there for Bangladesh at the moment, and in a healthy position in that 5th position, as I said, just a step below that top 4 for now. West Indies now have moved a step below from where they were earlier at the 6th spot. They've now gone to the 7th spot with 3 points, now tied with South Africa. Would you have imagined how the tournament started at that point? South Africa doing rather well, West Indies now just combined with them as far as points are concerned. Darren Ganga, one final comment from you. We were talking before this game when we were building it up. Shahriar Nafees was of the opinion this result will decide where both teams go. Do you think now the wheels are kind of coming off the West Indies? Will they find it tough to recover from a loss such as this?
Definitely a greater challenge for them to qualify in the top 4. With this sort of performance and the sort of dent in confidence they will get from this, it's going to be very difficult for this team to turn themselves around and to pick up 4 wins on the trot, especially when you have an India in there and New Zealand as well, 2 very good teams. So I think it will be disappointing, might be further downhill from here, but the West Indies, they only have themselves to blame. The decision making in terms of team selection, very poor, and I think this has contributed towards they not being able to accumulate points.
All right, Darren Ganga, thanks so much for your thoughts. Shahriar Nafees, Ajit Agarkar, Michael Lassi, thanks so much for joining us. Great win there for Bangladesh. Will they make the top 4? Now they are looking like a team that can really do it. For West Indies, 2 tough games coming out. India, one of them in that particular encounter. That's all that we have for you on ESPN Cricinfo Match Day. Thanks so much for watching.